organic.
Hi, and welcome to Sister Strong, a podcast and video series all about possible. I am your host, Betsy Wiersma. This podcast and video series is our way to share ideas and insights and connections from all kinds of people from all over the world that can help you stand for health and happiness. It's ideas for your toolkit. So try them on and see what works for you today. Today we have a very special guest. She is kind of a VIP. I'm just saying, JulieAnn Engel, inventor of organic defense, amazing resource, and someone I had heard about behind her back for years and years and years. And she was so gracious. I reached out to her thinking like some of her people maybe would call me, and it was her. She reached right out back and to be of service to me and the community. So welcome. So JulieAnn, we're so happy to have you here.
Thank you, Betsy. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, you are, I would call you a superhero because of the work you have done in the world. And I first met Organic Defense when I had shingles. And that was unfortunately like about 4 years ago. And it was in a place that I can't say because they would have to come in and say it's, not appropriate to talk about on video. But I had shingles in a very private place. And my friend Jerry Keir, who works very closely with JulieAnn, immediately said, you need to know about JulieAnn Engel and Organic Defense. So will you tell us a little bit about your story and, just kind of where you came from and how you invented such a great product?
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of an interesting and long road. Well, I am a certified health and wellness coach and health consultant. And I focus in 4 primary areas: virus relief, sustainable food growth, whole food nutrition, and also energy medicine. But how I got into this was actually years ago. I was in the pharmaceutical industry. I spent many years in the pharmaceutical industry, but my whole personal life was in alternative and holistic. And about 30 years ago, I became extremely ill with chronic fatigue. And it was at that time from the Epstein-Barr virus. And I went to doctor after doctor after doctor, and most of them didn't know what it was. A few told me it was in my head. And the frosting on the cake was when a physician said to me, it's a virus. There's nothing we can do except let it run its course. And I remember standing up and looking at him and saying, really? That's all you've got? That's the limit of your creativity? And with that, as I said, I stood up, I said, don't waste my time. And I walked out.
Wow.
And the reason is because I believe that the body was designed to heal. And that it's like we live in a giant terrarium, and everything that we need is here. And shamans will tell you, for example, that when there is a poison, the antidote is within 6 to 12 feet. All right. So I'm not saying that you don't use traditional medicine. Everybody should, and everybody does. But there's a way to integrate them and marry them, which is more powerful. And so when I went through all that, and I was very sick for many years, I began searching. And I didn't find my product in quotes at the time, but I never stopped searching because it made me so frustrated to hear someone say, it's a virus, just let it run its course. Nothing could be further from the truth.
It's so funny. I think it's something we've been talking about all day because I've been doing a lot of podcasting around this. It's like, out of You Never Will came a Paralympic athlete, Brittany Corey, who's a friend of mine. You're never going to succeed. You're never going to do anything. She cut off her foot. It was so bad. And she became a silver medalist athlete. But she was told you can't, right? Out of You Will Never Survive comes people, Viktor Frankl, right? Coming out of the concentration camp. So out of the disaster of no and the disaster of can't comes incredible innovation. So thank you for all of us that you did that. So, okay, the story continues because you're super healthy today. So then what?
So I've always focused somewhat in research. I'm a bit of a science nerd. And I ran across a raw material many years after I'd gotten much better. And I began to understand what it was. And I literally said, oh my God. I mean, if you go to my website and you read my personal story, you'll just see the whole story. But it's like I sat there and I said, I knew it. I knew it. And so I worked with a PhD chemist and I created a product. And it's great. And I take it all the time. And I'm always so honored when it helps so many people, because to me, that's what it's all about. It's about making a difference. And when someone says there's nothing more I can do, that isn't true. And
Right.
it's about taking it that step further and taking healthy back. And that's what I do.
Oh, I love taking healthy back. That feels like that should be your marketing thing, taking healthy back. I'm always looking for a good t-shirt. That, JulieAnn Engel. So okay, so you just said it like, let's say I went to the grocery store, I pet my dog, I invented a life-saving vitamin. Like you just say, da, 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 da. I did that. So did this person, is this someone you knew? I mean, is the compound something that, can you tell us a little bit more about like the background of what the ingredients are, or at least kind of give us a framework for what you
Yeah,
put together to make, and people don't know what this is. So you got to start with, organic defense, here's what it is and here's what it does, because I know that, but tell the rest of the world.
sure. Organic defense is a all-natural, organic, plant-based product, okay? But it's special. It's fossilized plant material that has been buried in the earth for over, thousands to millions of years, okay? And therefore, it's rich in amino acids and trace minerals, okay? And this fossilized plant material, when it's at that state, is known as humic acid. It is basically Mother Nature's storehouse of secrets. In nature, it is the smallest, most complex molecule there is. In the body, it's huge, okay? And I'll tell you a little bit in a minute of how it works, but the quality of humic acid is important, and that's what's really key to understand. It's not only the geographic source that you originally get it from, but once you have the raw material, it's how you process it. And there are over 15 patents on my processing. I worked with a PhD chemist to develop it. He's brilliant. And hopefully in about 6 months, I'll have another formulation of it, which will be even more potent, if you will. But it's Mother Nature at her finest. And how it works is, well, I should say, one of the things to understand is this. My product is a proprietary blend of humic acid. And again, the source is really important. But the thing to remember is that humic acid is really key. It's something that's kind of been missing out of our diet, right? It's basically the part of the soil that is responsible for composting and also transferring nutrients from the earth to living organisms, all right? And it's basically disappeared out of our diet because we're not in contact with the earth anymore. And most people, when you ask them about humic acid, they don't know what it is. But so it's, shall I say, it's almost like specialized dirt.
Yeah.
Okay.
That you have refined and you have built into a, just, I'm going to get 101, a capsule that you can take depending on what you're trying to combat, in combinations of 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 1 time a day, based on what you're working on.
Right. And in the capsule, you can actually also open it up. And if you decided that you wanted to make tea out of it, you could do that. Just open the capsule up and put it in a cup and pour like the hot water in it. And add a teeny little bit of baking soda. And when I say a teeny little bit, I mean like maybe less than a quarter of a teaspoon or an eighth of a teaspoon. Because, okay, I warned you I was a science nerd. Humic acid, it's called that because of its chemical makeup. Well, baking soda is a base. So when you open the capsule up, put it in, pour the water in, and then add a little bit of baking soda, it drives it more into solution. And it will look as black as coffee, and it'll taste like nothing. Except if you put too much baking soda in, you'll taste the baking soda.
Oh, see? Fascinating. Fascinating. I didn't know that from all these years. Okay, so
you can do it that way. But so go ahead. I'm so sorry. You're going to say.
So take us on the path. So tell everyone some of the common things that people take it for, some of the uses.
Anything viral. Anything.
So
and I'll explain how it works and then you'll understand. Okay, anything that's related to a virus. Cold, flu, shingles, Epstein-Barr, hepatitis C. I mean, I have a client that's been using it for years for hepatitis C. And we can go into more detail later, but how it works, there are basically 3 ways in which it's working for you. 1, it alerts the immune system to the virus, okay? It regulates and strengthens the immune system also. 2, it enhances the selective response of the immune system, which is very key. And 3, remember when I said in the body it was huge? Well, it's like a big floppy hat. The molecule is very flexible, and it encapsulates or coats the virus so that it can't attach to a healthy cell and get inside and reproduce. How viruses work is they're sticky. Think of flypaper. And they attach to a cell, they poke a hole in the cell, they get inside and they start reproducing. Sort of like someone coming into your kitchen and using all your pots and pans and leaving a god-awful mess. But if the virus cannot attach to the cell, it can't get inside and reproduce. So when the organic defense encapsulates it, and it's sitting there kind of floating in your system, then the immune system, which has already been warned, comes along and can take it out.
Okay, so I'm going to say that back to you. So the bad guys, the viruses, try to come in and poke a hole into the good cells and then use those as a little machinery to reproduce and to grow and to do bad stuff. But to the rescue, organic defense comes in, tells everybody, watch out, there's some bad guys in here, and then goes in there and takes their sticky floppy hat and surrounds the bad viruses, then waves back and says, hey, immune system, I got one. And then they whoosh it out together and get it out of the body.
Pretty much. The goal is to not allow the virus to get into the cell to begin with.
Right.
And actually, that's where organic defense is brilliant, because humic acid, well, I said the virus is like flypaper. Think of organic defense as Velcro. Okay.
Yeah.
It coats the virus. It attaches to virus so hard, it can actually displace it off of a cell.
All right.
What you want to do is not let the guys get in.
Right.
All right. So that's the idea. And when, like, I take organic defense all the time. So there's always some level of organic defense in me.
Right.
And you can use it that way, or you can use it just like, oh gosh, I'm coming down with something, I need it now.
Yeah, I use it as, ever since my shingles, I use it very tactically in my shingles, 3 times a day, 2 capsules, got through the shingles, and then I've kept it on board forever, just as an onboard agent. And then also too, when I fly or when I'm going anywhere where I know I'm going to have more exposure, I have always amped that up and carried that around the world. So it has been to 3 continents with me in the last couple of years, always carrying my organic defense. Well, I know people are fascinated by this and they want to come to your website, learn more about this, and see how it might work for them. So will you tell them how to get a hold of you, please?
Sure. You can reach me through my website, which is organicdefense.com, right? www.organicdefense.com. In an emergency, you can text me because that's the fastest way to reach me, which is 619-972-9551. And I also wanted, during this difficult time, to let people know that if they do want to order, there's a code that will give them the organic defense at my preferred pricing, which is auto ship pricing. Okay. And that code is friends and family. And it's all together, no spaces, all lowercase.
Oh, that is so kind of you to do that, because I, of course, have the auto ship prices because I am an auto ship, which I just doubled, as you know.
Right.
Got my husband. He was always on board, but he was stealing more of mine. And I said, look, we're just going to make this official. You're going to have your own. Well, I just appreciate that you have been standing in the world doing this good work for a long time, and that you continue to innovate. And we so want to support the world knowing about you, and that as many people as possible can, do everything they need to do to stay virus free, healthy and happy, and to help their family and friends do anything they can. So
Yeah.
we just so appreciate your work in the world. And we'll stay tuned as we continue through this process. I'd love to check back in with you, and we'll kind of do a little update on ideas and what we're learning, and especially with your new formula coming out. We'd love to stay in touch with you and share
Perfect.
Organic Defense and JulieAnn's great work in the world. So thank you so much for being on the show today.
You're welcome. And again, anything I can do to help.
Well, and she has, like I said, she actually returned the phone call from the website, has helped our friend who's working with, Lyme disease, so many weird things. We put in an emergency call to JulieAnn and get her brain and her science behind this. And that's what this is about. It's about science that can help us all stay healthy and happy. And thank all of you for listening or viewing today our Sister Strong podcast and video series that is just built to showcase ideas and inspiration and insights and experiences to help you on your journey. We are Sister Strong. We are part of the Global Sisterhood podcast network of women amplifying our voices to help the world be a better place and to help each other along the way. Again, this is your host, Betsy Wiersma.